His eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he tossed the transfer papers onto my desk. "Gerald, effective Monday, you are relocating to the West Branch," Donald announced, his lips curling into pleasure at my impending demise. The room tilted slightly. West Branch was the joke of our company, the black hole where careers went to die. "That location closes in 30 days, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, while 20 pairs of eyes pretended not to watch from surrounding cubicles. Donald Harmon Miller leaned in close enough that only I could hear his next words. "Think of it as an opportunity to enhance your resume, Gerald. Good luck." The smirk that followed told the real story. My fingers trembled as I lifted the paper. 30 days' notice of closure had been given to the West Branch employees weeks ago. Customers had already been notified. Equipment was scheduled for removal. This was not a transfer, it was a professional execution. The real reason was obvious to everyone who had attended the quarterly review last week. I had questioned Donald's decision to abandon our loyal working-class customers in favor of chasing high-net-worth clients. I had brought data and projections. I had made him look unprepared in front of the executive team, and now I was paying for it. "The branch manager officially leaves tomorrow. You will take over Monday morning," he continued, already walking away. "I have copied human resources. The transfer is non-negotiable." Rain soaked through my coat as I stood at the bus stop that evening. I was 48 years old, and I had dedicated 8 years of 60-hour weeks, sacrificed weekends, and postponed family vacations, all erased with a single signature. My phone buzzed with messages from colleagues. Some offered condolences, while others kept their strategic distance from the newly condemned. Monday arrived with cruel sunshine. The West Branch sat in an aging strip mall between a vacant storefront and a discount shoe shop. The sign letters had faded to a pale blue, barely visible against the cloudy sky. Inside, the carpet was worn to threads, and the desktop computers looked like museum pieces. 5 employees looked up when I entered, their expressions a mix of confusion and pity. Nobody had bothered to tell them a new manager was coming to oversee their final month. "I am Gerald," I said, placing my single box of belongings on the nearest desk. "Apparently, I am your new manager." A woman with gray-streaked hair and tired eyes approached me. "I am Brenda Porter, the assistant branch manager here for 16 years. We did not know they were sending someone new. To be honest, it is a waste of your time." She gestured toward a small office with glass walls. "That is yours, I guess, for whatever it is worth." The manager's office held nothing but outdated training manuals and empty filing cabinets. A thick layer of dust covered everything. On the corner of the desk sat a stack of customer exit surveys, most expressing deep regret over the branch's closure. By lunchtime, I understood the complete picture. This branch had been systematically strangled. Their technology requests had been denied for years. Their marketing materials were outdated. Their customer outreach budget had been eliminated 18 months ago. Yet somehow, this team of 5 was still serving nearly 200 loyal customers who refused to change branches despite headquarters' best efforts to push them out. "Most of our customers are from the local immigrant community or retirees who have banked here for decades," Brenda explained, handing me performance reports that headquarters had ignored. Donald made it clear 3 years ago that these were not the right type of customers anymore. That night, I could not sleep. The unfairness burned in my chest. Donald had sent me here to fail, to quietly process closure paperwork until the branch shut down, adding a humiliating final note to my employment record. I pulled out the local area map I had taken from the branch. Something about the location kept nagging at me. The commercial zone looked different from what I remembered. I opened my laptop and checked the city development website. The realization hit me like a thunderbolt. The West Branch sat exactly 4 blocks away from the River District, the city's massive redevelopment project that had transformed abandoned warehouses into the fastest-growing small business incubator in the region. Over 300 new business startups had moved in during the past year alone, with hundreds more expected. And our company had a branch, the only financial institution within walking distance. I dug deeper. Headquarters had commissioned a regional market analysis last year, but focused only on high-wealth residential areas. They had completely missed the commercial transformation happening right beside our dying branch. My heart raced as I connected the dots. The West Branch had something no other branch had: direct access to hundreds of new businesses that desperately needed financial services. At 5:30 in the morning, I was waiting when Brenda arrived to open the branch. "I need to understand something," I said, pointing to my map. "How many of these new businesses have accounts with us?" "Nah," she replied, looking surprised. "We tried telling headquarters about the redevelopment, but they cut our business development position 2 years ago. They told us to focus on an orderly closure instead. The pieces were falling into place." This was not just about my career anymore. This was about 5 hard-working people losing their jobs because executives were too arrogant to see the opportunity staring them in the face. "What would you say if I told you we have 30 days to save this branch?" I asked. Brenda laughed, a short, bitter sound. "I would say you are either crazy or you do not understand how this company works." Maybe both, I admitted. "But I am not going down without a fight." The next morning, I gathered the entire staff in the break room. Before the events I am sharing, I was a regional operations director. I had risen through customer service into management, building a reputation as a problem solver and data analyst. I lived for spreadsheets and process improvements. I had grown up watching my working-class parents work multiple jobs to afford basic financial services, often exploited because traditional institutions would not serve them. That experience drove my passion for accessible banking and my friction with Donald. Donald Miller had joined as regional executive 10 months earlier, brought in to modernize our approach. His vision exclusively targeted affluent clients. When quarterly numbers did not immediately improve, he began closing underperforming branches, starting with those serving working-class neighborhoods. That brought us back to the West Branch and the 5 people now looking at me like I had suggested. We fly to the moon. Besides Brenda, there was Nikhil Patel, the loan teller who had worked here for 23 years. Diana Rose, the customer service representatives studying for her business degree at night. Carlos Diaz, the loan officer who knew every small business owner in the old neighborhood, and Kelly Adams, who handled account openings. "Headquarters has written us off," Carlos said, crossing his arms defensively. "I have submitted business projections about the River District 3 times. They do not even respond anymore." I pulled out my laptop and showed them the research I had done overnight. "The company does not see what we have here, but that does not mean we cannot show them." "Show them what exactly?" Diana asked, her skepticism evident. "That we can get a few new accounts before they lock the doors. They have already told customers we are closing. What if we could get 50 new business accounts in 30 days? I challenged. "What if we could show revenue potential? That is 10 times what this branch currently produces." Nikhil shook his head. "Even if we could, Donald would never admit he was wrong. He has been dismantling branches like ours since he arrived. I am not trying to convince Donald," I explained, feeling the first spark of hope I had felt in days. "I am going over his head, straight to the executive committee." Kelly, who had not spoken until now, leaned forward. "How?" "By doing exactly what this branch was always meant to do: serve this community. Only now, the community has changed, and nobody at headquarters bothered to notice." That day, we took inventory of what we had. 5 committed employees, an outdated branch, and 30 days before closure. Our company systems showed we had 0 budget for marketing, 0 allocation for community outreach, and 0 expectations for anything but an orderly shutdown. "First, we need to understand what these new businesses actually need," I said, spreading a map across the break room table. "Carlos, you have experience with small business accounts. What would attract these startups?" Carlos considered this. "Quick approval processes, flexible terms for new ventures, and someone who understands their specific industry challenges, which is exactly what our premium direction does not offer." I nodded. "We need to meet these businesses where they are, literally." My plan was audacious but simple. While headquarters thought we were processing closing paperwork, we would transform the branch into a business development hub focused exclusively on River District startups. "This is career suicide," Nikhil warned, though I noticed a spark of interest in his eyes. "Donald will crush any successful initiative from this branch." "Probably," I agreed, "but I am already dead in this company." "We all are. so we might as well go down fighting. Kelly spoke up, her voice quiet but determined. I have contacts at the River District Management Office. My cousin works in their administration. Deanna pulled out her phone. 3 of my business school classmates are in startups there. They have been complaining about having to drive across town for banking services. By the end of the day, we had divided responsibilities. Carlos and I would develop tailored financial packages for startups. Diana and Kelly would handle outreach and relationship building. Nikhil and Brenda would manage existing customers while training all of us on quick approval protocols. The next morning, we arrived an hour early. I had spent the night creating presentation materials on my personal laptop. Since our branch computers could not run current software, we transformed the branch's dusty conference room into a strategy center with maps, target lists, and service matrices taped to the walls. If headquarters asks, we are organizing customer transition files, I instructed. Everything else stays between us. By noon, Kelly had secured us an invitation to a River District networking event that weekend. By Tuesday, Carlos had drafted specialized offering sheets for tech startups, service businesses, and manufacturing ventures. Diana organized current customers into a referral network, incentivizing them with special rates to introduce new businesses. Our first hurdle appeared Wednesday morning. It was an email from Donald. All West Branch staff are required to attend closure training sessions downtown, effective immediately. These were daily sessions from 1 to 5 in the afternoon for the next 2 weeks. This would completely kill our outreach efforts. The team looked to me, panic evident. He knows, Nikhil muttered. Someone tipped him off. I considered our options. Brenda and I will attend the training. The rest of you develop technology issues that require you to remain at the branch. If anyone questions it, you are helping customers transition their accounts. The training sessions were soul-crushing exercises in corporate doublespeak. Customer relationship transitions meant teaching clients to use machines instead of tellers. Career development opportunities meant applying for positions at other branches that did not exist. Donald made a point of acknowledging me on the first day. Settling in at West Branch, Gerald? I trust you are finding it educational. The satisfaction in his voice only strengthened my resolve. Meanwhile, our team was making progress. Carlos had made contact with 16 businesses and scheduled appointments. Kelly and her cousin had arranged for us to set up an information table at the River District's monthly merchant meeting. Diana had convinced her professors to bring a business class to our branch for a real-world banking workshop. Our second obstacle arrived Friday morning. The company system showed that all our cash handling limits had been restricted, and our loan approval thresholds had been reduced to almost nothing. This is standard closing procedure, Brenda explained. But they have accelerated it. We are essentially functioning as a customer service desk now, not a full branch. I called an emergency meeting. They are trying to choke us without officially interfering. We need to adapt. I know someone in the downtown branch, Diana offered. She might process applications for us under their authority. And my old manager at the North Branch still takes my calls, Carlos added. He might sign off on initial approvals. We reorganized our approach. Instead of processing applications at our branch, we would serve as the relationship front end, with paperwork flowing through sympathetic colleagues at other locations. It was cumbersome, but functional. By the end of week 1, we had opened accounts for 7 River District businesses. Small victories, but momentum was building. Word was spreading through the entrepreneurial community about the branch that comes to you, our makeshift mobile service where Carlos and Kelly would actually visit startups to process paperwork. To make this mobile service work, Carlos and Kelly spent hours walking the brick streets of the River District, visiting converted warehouses. They spoke directly with makers, developers, and logistics providers. They sat on crates and shared coffee, explaining that a bank did not have to be a distant monolith. Back at the branch, Nikhil used outdated calculators and spreadsheets to verify financial ratios manually, while Diana stayed late to cross-reference addresses and print files. Brenda managed to deflect questions from visiting regional inspectors, keeping our files stored in personal bags rather than corporate desks. Then came our third and most serious obstacle. On Monday morning of week 2, I arrived to find an information technology technician removing our computers. System upgrade, he explained vaguely. Orders from the regional office. By noon, our internet connection had been disconnected. Our phone system developed maintenance issues. We were effectively cut off from company systems. This is not a coincidence, Brenda said as we gathered in the now empty conference room. Donald has figured out what we are doing. The team's energy deflated. Without systems access, we could not process any new accounts or service existing ones. That is it then, Nikhil sighed. We gave it a good shot. I felt the weight of responsibility. I had given these people false hope, convinced them to risk their final employment days on an impossible mission. Now, they would have nothing to show for it except possibly negative references from a vindictive executive. We sat in defeated silence until Kelly spoke up. My cousin says the River District has unused office space with an internet connection. What if we relocated our outreach efforts there, without company systems? Carlos questioned, what if we created paper applications? Old school. We collect all the information, documentation, signatures, everything needed, then process it all when systems access is restored. The energy in the room shifted. I added an idea. What if we brought the completed paperwork to other branches for processing? We can split it between multiple locations so no single manager bears the full risk of helping us. Carlos smiled for the first time since I had met him. I know at least 3 branch managers who despise Donald as much as we do. By Wednesday, we had established a guerrilla operation. Mornings were spent at the West Branch, maintaining appearances and serving existing customers with manual workarounds. Afternoons, we rotated through the River District in pairs, working from a borrowed office with pop-up financial services handwritten on the door. Word spread through the startup community about the branch that would not die, about financial professionals willing to understand their unique needs when the corporate structure had abandoned them. We began attracting attention not just from small startups, but from established River District businesses frustrated with their current financial institutions. We submitted. Yesterday, Carlos reported during our morning meeting. They were processed through 4 different branches. And I have 31 businesses confirmed for tomorrow's workshop, Diana added. The River District Management Office asked if we could set up a permanent satellite location in their main building, Kelly said. They are willing to provide the space rent-free for 6 months. For the first time, I allowed myself to believe we might actually succeed. The numbers were compelling. In just 2 weeks, we had generated more new business accounts than the branch had acquired in the previous year. The potential revenue from these relationships, especially as these startups grew, was substantial. But Donald was not finished with us. Friday morning, I received an email that made my stomach twist. Effective immediately, the West Branch closure date is moved up. All operations cease Monday. Staff termination processing will begin Tuesday. Required branch inventory is scheduled for Sunday at 9 in the morning. Your attendance is mandatory. I stared at my phone, trying to process what this meant. We had just lost 2 crucial weeks. All our momentum and planning had been cut short by a vengeful executive. The team's reaction was shock and anger. He won again, Nikhil said, shaking his head. Brenda placed a hand on my shoulder. You tried, Gerald. That is more than anyone else did. I looked around at these people who had trusted me. I could not let them down. Sunday inventory, I repeated slowly. That gives us approximately 48 hours. For what? Carlos asked. It is over. No, I countered, a new clarity washing over me. It is just changing form. If we only have until Sunday, then Sunday becomes our deadline to present our case. We go directly to the executive committee. They meet Monday morning, and Donald is scheduled to present his consolidation report. The committee will not see us, Brenda objected. They will not have to, I explained. They will see our results. I looked at the executives on the chart. Lawrence Brooks, the chief financial officer, whose nephew Sean owns a tech startup in the River District. Sandra Davis, the operations director, who pushes for small business expansion. Keith Taylor, the chief marketing officer, recently criticized for the company's retreat from diverse communities. We are building irrefutable proof that Donald's strategy is flawed and that He deliberately sabotaged a profitable opportunity, I said. But we have less than 48 hours. How many accounts must we secure? Brenda asked. I did some quick calculations. 50 new business accounts would project to over $2 million in first-year revenue. That is 10 times what headquarters forecasted for this branch's final year. No executive could ignore that discrepancy. We have 29 confirmed, Carlos reported. We need 21 more. We will need documentation, Diana pointed out. Irrefutable evidence of the accounts, the projections, and the interference from Donald. And we must present it in a way they cannot ignore, I added. Kelly stepped forward. My cousin says the River District is hosting a press event Sunday afternoon. The mayor will announce infrastructure improvements, and all local business leaders will attend. The perfect storm was brewing. But as we dispersed, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Donald knows everything. The board meeting has been moved to Sunday night. Your branch records are audited now. Be careful, I showed Brenda. The board meeting has been moved to Sunday night. Donald is going to present the closure as a completed action before anyone can question it. We need to go off-grid, I decided. Nothing through company channels or devices. Within an hour, we relocated our operation to the back room of Maria's cafe, owned by one of Nikhil's longtime customers. Maria cleared space, provided coffee, and promised discretion. Use whatever you need, she told us. We divided into teams. Carlos and Kelly continued direct business outreach. Diana compiled our performance data and projections. Nikhil coordinated with sympathetic branch managers. Brenda prepared the presentation. I had the most delicate task, reaching out to Brooks without alerting Donald. Lawrence Brooks plays golf every Saturday morning at Hillcrest, Brenda informed me. He is usually done by 10:30 and has coffee on the terrace. You learn things about executives when they think you are invisible. Saturday morning found me sitting at the country club terrace. When Brooks emerged, I recognized him immediately. He was a tall, silver-haired man. Mr. Brooks, I am Gerald Vance, the West Branch manager. His expression shifted to confusion. West Branch, is that not closing? It concerns your nephew's business in the River District, I said. Sean's startup is one of 37 businesses we have signed in the past 2 weeks. Businesses that will now have no local branch because our closure was suddenly accelerated. Brooks narrowed his eyes. Sit down, Mr. Vance. For 20 minutes, I laid out our discovery about the River District's potential, our campaign, and the systematic obstacles. I presented numbers showing projected revenue that far exceeded the branch's previous performance. Why am I just hearing about this now? Brooks demanded, because Donald Miller has been actively suppressing this information while fast-tracking our closure, I answered, showing copies of our rejected market analysis. The Sunday inventory is designed to ensure we are gone before the executive committee meets. Brooks studied the documents. These projections are substantial, but without official records. We have maintained independent documentation of everything, I assured him. Brooks was silent. The board meeting is Sunday evening. Donald has requested expedited approval. Can you delay the vote? I asked, not without cause. I would need proof that this opportunity is real. As he stood, I played my final card. The mayor is announcing new infrastructure investments for the River District tomorrow afternoon. The press will be there. So will the business owners we had served. Brooks paused. What time? 3 in the afternoon at the River District Plaza. I make no promises, Mr. Vance. I returned to Maria's cafe where the team worked through the night. As evening approached, another anonymous text arrived. Donald scheduled a system audit for Sunday at 6 in the morning to erase digital traces of your project. Without those records, it becomes our word against his, Diana said. Then Kelly spoke up. What if we do not fight the audit? We will create an entirely new independent record. Customer testimonials, signed applications, and revenue projections certified by an independent accountant. Donald can erase company records, but he cannot erase external documentation. By sunrise Sunday, we had created a comprehensive portfolio. 52 businesses had committed to accounts, exceeding our goal. We had video testimonials and signed letters detailing how Donald's policies had prevented them from working with our company, completely bypassing Donald's attempt to erase our work since 6. The Sunday inventory proceeded with tense formality. Donald arrived to oversee it, watching with satisfaction as we cataloged supplies. "I will need your company IDs and devices before you leave," he instructed coldly. "Your final checks will be mailed after exit interviews next week." "Of course," I replied. "We will bring everything to the River District announcement this afternoon. I assumes you will be there." Confusion flickered across his face. "What announcement?" "The mayor's infrastructure announcement. All our new business clients will be there." Lawrence Brooks seemed very interested when I mentioned it. Donald's expression hardened. "This branch is closed, effective immediately. Whatever unauthorized activities you have been conducting end now. I have informed the committee about your inappropriate solicitation of Mr. Brooks. Did you really think a failing branch manager could challenge me?" I maintained eye contact. "See you at 3, Donald." As he stalked away, Nikhil asked, "Did you just challenge the man who is firing us?" "I did," I admitted, "and he is right. A failing branch manager cannot challenge him." I pulled out the portfolio we had created. "But this can." At 2:45, we arrived at the River District Plaza. Local news cameras were setting up near a stage. Standing at the edge of the gathering was Lawrence Brooks, along with 2 other members of the executive committee. "They came," Brenda whispered. "But where is Donald?" "He will be here," I assured Brenda. At precisely 3, the mayor announced a $50 million infrastructure investment in the River District. As she spoke, I spotted Donald standing near the executive committee members, speaking urgently to Sandra Davis. The mayor introduced the River District Business Association president, who began acknowledging key partners. "And we would especially like to recognize the extraordinary team from the West Branch of Financial Services who have become vital partners to over 50 businesses here in just the past 3 weeks." Applause erupted. Donald's head snapped up in shock. Brooks stepped forward and took the microphone. "Good afternoon," Brooks began. "As Chief Financial Officer, I am always interested in growth. What I have learned about the work happening here is illuminating, especially since our current strategy explicitly deprioritized these markets." He turned toward Donald, whose face had drained of color. That was my cue. "Mr. Brooks, we have prepared complete documentation of our findings," I said, approaching the stage. 52 new business accounts established, projected first-year revenue exceeding $2,300,000, and a growth potential analysis for the next 5 years. I handed him the portfolio, adding, "We have documented evidence that Donald Miller violated the Federal Warning Act by attempting to accelerate our branch's closure without the mandatory 60 days of notice. Furthermore, he systematically manipulated performance metrics to justify shutting down branches in minority-serving neighborhoods, violating fair lending policies and breaching his fiduciary duty." Brooks accepted the portfolio, opening it while the crowd watched. Donald stepped forward, his face twisted with anger. "This is completely unauthorized," he hissed. "These people operated outside company protocols after being instructed to process an orderly closure." Brooks looked up. "Is that true, Mr. Vance? Did you disobey instructions?" "Yes, sir, I did," I replied. "Those instructions contradicted our company's mission to serve communities. We had a choice: follow a flawed strategy or demonstrate a better alternative. These businesses represent our future." Brooks turned to Donald. "Were you aware of this potential?" "These are inflated projections," Donald insisted. "Unverified claims from a manager trying to save his job." The association president stepped forward. "We can verify everything. Our members provided signed statements, and the city's economic analysis supports these numbers." For the next 15 minutes, business owners described how our team had created solutions for their needs. With each testimony, Donald's position visibly weakened. Finally, Brooks addressed the crowd. "On behalf of the company, I want to thank the West Branch team. Rest assured, their work has not gone unnoticed. Mr. Vance, the executive committee will review your findings thoroughly at tonight's board meeting." As the event concluded, Donald cornered me. "You made a serious mistake," he warned. "This publicity stunt changes nothing. I still determine your future." I smiled. "Actually, Donald, you do not. I resigned this morning." His expression shifted to confusion, then triumph. "So you quit anyway." "This was for nothing." "Not for nothing," I corrected. I accepted a position as the River District's Director of Financial Development, establishing a community development financial institution. Our first initiative is building banking partnerships with institutions that value these clients. Lawrence Brooks already wants to discuss how your company might participate. The color drained from Donald's face. You set me up. No, Donald. You did that yourself when you tried to bury opportunity for the sake of your ego. 3 hours later, we sat in Maria's cafe watching the breaking news. The reporter announced a leadership shakeup, with Donald Miller placed on administrative leave pending investigation. I still cannot believe it worked, Nikhil said, raising his cup. I cannot believe you resigned before knowing if it would work, Brenda added. I smiled. Success is not about winning within a broken system. It is about building something better. Carlos raised his cup. As we celebrated, my phone buzzed with a message from Lawrence Brooks. The board voted to establish a permanent River District location and terminate Donald Miller. The position of regional director is open. Are you interested? I showed the message to my team. Don't worry, I assured them. I already replied that I will only consider it if I can bring my own team. All of you, Deanna grinned. From fired to hired in the same day. Not bad. Not bad at all, I agreed. Sometimes the best revenge is not about destroying your opponent. It is about proving them wrong in ways they can never undo.